When I talked about Rush Rally Origins, I stated that I would cover Rush Rally 3 on a later date, despite both games being on the same physical version. Well, so here it is. Rush Rally 3 is the latest game of the franchise created by Brownmonster Games in 2019 for mobile and even the Nintendo Switch, however digitally. It was then released for PC in 2022 and then again for the Switch in the same year, but this time in a physical version, which I obviously own, and that is the only version I've played. If you've seen my Rush Rally Origins video, then you will notice that I am going to repeat some of the same stuff here too. But don't worry, there are obvious differences between the two. This will be a bit hard to explain, but while the top-down view worked damn well in Origins, in 3 it feels kinda off. I don't know what it is, but driving with this view is kind of strange for some reason. Maybe it's because I mainly drove in third-person view because you can drive this way in this game, and the change from third-person to top-down view on the fly may have caused that effect on me where I didn't find top-down that appealing. Or maybe it could also be that while Origins was made with top-down in mind, Rush Rally 3 seemed to have been made with any other kind of view in mind but top-down. As if top-down was there because it was in the original and nothing else. However, while I mainly drove in third person, you can change to any other view on the fly, even cockpit view if you want, which is a really nice touch. You can also look to the sides if you want, to find out that your co-pilot not only looks like a mannequin but also is low quality. Unlike you, because at least you can see yourself actually shifting, which is a really nice touch. You can even see it in third person if you pay close attention, even though it's hard to do that in a game like this because you really need to focus on the road. Still, that's a very impressive detail the developer added in a game like this. My point is, if you didn't like the old school top-down view from Origins, then you might have more fun here because of the cockpit, bumper, hood or third-person view you can drive with. And by the way, your car can take a ton of damage, and yes, it will affect your driving hardcore, which is a damn nice thing. I mean, here, on purpose, I tried to damage the car as much as I could, and look at the tire. It's all screwed up, and yes, it will affect your driving hardcore. Now, I've stated that Origins had the issue of having unlockables, but rather monotonous ones, because you had to unlock every single stage and every single track on all 3 modes instead of unlocking them in Championship one by one and then having access to them in single race and time trial. Sadly, the same thing happens here again. And while having more tracks is a very nice thing, because there are more tracks and stages to unlock, it gets even more monotonous. It would have been fine if you beat a championship, for example, and the tracks you drove on there would be unlocked for at least single race. But no, you have to unlock everything again in single race in a rather cheap way to prolong the game. The championship consists of various championship sessions, and 2 of those have to be unlocked by beating the previous ones. Or, well, let me correct that. You don't need to beat them, you just need to finish them. It sounds kind of easy to do that, but it kind of isn't. At least if you care about being in the podium or even first. Every small mistake will make you pay big time, which is a thing that makes rally games controller breaking good. Because on the one hand you will get really angry, Angry because literally every small mistake will make you pay big time and almost force you to restart over and over again. Because there is something inside you that simply refuses to accept your own mistakes and give up in being first. You won't get angry at the game, you will get angry at yourself because you are failing at achieving whatever you want to achieve. But on the other hand, once you've managed to finish a stage or a country and finally be first, you will feel a sense of relief and accomplishment in a way only rally games can give you. It's hard to explain, but if you play racing games often, then you probably know what I'm talking about. Of course, unless the game has shitty physics and an unfair AI, then you won't get angry at yourself, but rather at the game because of how shit it is. However, here, the game has good physics and a fair AI, you just need to be amazing to win. However, I get the impression that the difficulty is a bit all over the place. I noticed this while playing Championship, where the difficulty increases by quite a bit towards the last stage of a country. That would be fine, but it's almost as if the difficulty suddenly went from normal to hard or from hard to extreme, even though you didn't change the settings at all. Unlike Origins, Rush Rally 3's Championship is strictly just time attack. Well, for the most part, I haven't beat every single championship yet, but I felt confident enough to be able to make a video about this game despite it. Don't worry though, I will finish and unlock everything in here at some point because overall, this game is insanely fun. I just need a pillow by my side to punch the hell out of it as a result of my own failings. Each championship is a combination of stages from different countries, unlike Rush Rally Origins, but Rallycross is gone here. Well, not quite. Rallycross has a separate mode dedicated to it. Alongside it, you will also have skill games. In here, you will have to dodge traffic, dodge missiles, avoid crossroads, pass through gates, or collect coins. It's a fun distraction, it's more arcade-like in a sense, and a nice challenge on top of the Championship and Rallycross. And to make progress in Rallycross as well skill games, you need to be at least third on each track. So it might not be an easy thing to achieve. But just drive with the car you feel most comfortable with and give it a go, like I did with the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Unless there is a classification restriction. The cars have classifications from D to R and even S. And unlike Origins where all cars started with a D classification, in here many cars will have a preset classification. And yes, you can still almost upgrade everything to your liking. This time around in a more specific manner, as you can see here. And yes, each change or adjustment will affect the car like in a simulation racer. After all, that's what Rush Rally 3 actually wants to be for mobile. And it works quite well. Graphically there is not much to say other than it looks quite good. Yeah, there are some low quality things here and there, like the co-driver, but otherwise it looks good. Similar goes for the sound, there is actually not much to complain about. There are just a few small issues in the game that should have been cleaned out before it was released on the Switch. While the structure of the menus are fine, they feel a bit bland compared to the first game. The way you navigate through the menus is rather annoying because the game uses a damn cursor for everything instead of the typical menu select. So often the cursor will be where you don't want it to be because it jumps around. It may be fine for mobile because I assume the cursor is meant for touch screens, but when playing it on a console, especially on a docked Switch, then it doesn't work well. While the weather effects are really good and go from sunny to snowy to rainy, even from day to actual night, when it's raining and you drive in cockpit view, it's a bit of a shame that there are no visible effects on the windshield despite the wipers sliding around. And unlike Rush Rally Origins, where nighttime seemed to be more dusk or dawn time, here night is actually night. There are slight frame issues here and there, the people and animals still feel like huge rocks or statues, and remember this issue? It continues to happen in this game as well, but granted, not as often. Still, this should have been patched out by now. So, okay, this game certainly has a few minor issues, but overall it's a damn impressive game, especially considering that this supposedly was made just by one man that even made his own engine for this. Dude did a damn amazing job with this game, and if this is just the beginning of what this goat of a guy can do, then I will look forward to what he will be able to deliver in the future. Ultimately, I will say that this game, heck, the whole Rush Rally collection actually, definitely is worth buying. It's a lot of fun, has a good amount of content, and considering it was mostly done by one guy, it's really amazing. The presentation and navigation are better in Rush Rally Origins, but overall I think Rush Rally 3 is the better game. Unless you prefer top-down racers. If so, then Origins does a better job at it.